Today, we're looking at a completely incredible two-century journey. We're going to trace the path of the United States from, well, a pretty precarious start, all the way to becoming an undisputed global superpower. So, let's dive right in.
I want you to imagine a country that began as just a thin line of colonies pressed right against the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. No giant army, no world influence. Honestly, no promise of ever becoming the most powerful nation on Earth. And yet, in a little over 200 years, the United States rose to become exactly that. A global superpower. This is that story.
It really all started back in 1776. That's when just 13 colonies bravely declared independence from the mighty British Empire. To put that into perspective for you, their entire combined population at the time was actually smaller than the modern-day city of Los Angeles. Wild, right? But that was the tiny seed of the modern superpower we know today.
Now, looking back at those early days, it was a pretty unlikely beginning. At the time, a lot of people thought this new country wouldn't even survive. I mean, they had a mountain of debt, weak institutions, and very limited industry. But, bubbling just beneath the surface, they had something incredibly powerful. Vast land, remarkably rich natural resources, and just immense ambition. So after winning independence, America started expanding westward. And these new territories meant more farms, more cities, and eventually way more economic power. Railroads were rapidly built to connect these incredibly distant places. Factories started popping up, and immigrants arrived in massive waves, bringing vital skills, hard labor, and some pretty big dreams.
This rapid growth set the stage for America to become a true industrial giant.
By the late 1800s, America was absolutely no longer just a young experiment. While parts of Europe focused on maintaining old empires and fighting historical conflicts, America built steel, oil, cars. Mass production literally changed everything. Business leaders created massive new industries that could produce goods faster and cheaper than almost anyone else. Cities exploded with growth, and the money just flowed. By the early 1900s, America's economy was quickly becoming one of the largest on Earth.
But here's the thing. Economic power alone doesn't just make you a superpower. We were heading toward a massive global turning point.
History was about to change in a big way. Then came World War I. European countries fought these devastating, grinding battles. America joined that conflict much later and actually emerged stronger than many expected. But the real turning point, the ultimate catalyst for global dominance, was definitely World War II.
The contrast by 1945 was just stark. Europe was severely damaged. Entire cities were literally destroyed, and many economies had completely collapsed under the devastating weight of the war. But America was fundamentally different. Its mainland almost entirely avoided wartime destruction. Their factories were running at full speed. Weapons, vehicles, ships, and supplies were being produced on an enormous, unprecedented scale.
So, when the dust finally settled and the war ended, look at what remained. America emerged with one of the strongest economies on the planet, one of the most powerful militaries, and suddenly enormous global influence. The balance of power in the world had fundamentally and permanently changed.
In the aftermath of World War II, we see a totally new kind of competition begin.
This wasn't a war with armies directly charging across borders. No, this was fought with technology, global influence, economics, and ideology. The United States and the Soviet Union competed fiercely across decades. Think about it: space missions, massive scientific breakthroughs, rapid military development, and the forging of deep global alliances. This intense rivalry drove unparalleled innovation. And when the Cold War finally ended, America remained standing as one of the most influential countries in the entire world.
Which brings us to the modern superpower we see today.
Today, America's influence reaches almost everywhere you look. Technology, entertainment, finance, research, and unmatched military power. Companies born there have become massive global household names. Movies and music constantly cross borders to shape global culture. And new inventions have fundamentally shaped how the entire world operates every single day.
But you see, becoming a superpower wasn't just one single lucky moment in time. It was centuries of expansion, industry, war, innovation, and global influence all stacking together. It was this methodical, compounding process that transformed 13 small, indebted colonies into one of the most powerful nations in history.
It's a pretty powerful reminder that history doesn't just change overnight. It changes one decision, one invention, and one generation at a time.
As the world continues to shift today, it really begs the question, how long can any nation hold on to superpower status, and who might be quietly building their foundation next? If you enjoyed this story, please like this explainer, subscribe, and comment. Which country should I explain next? Thanks so much for joining me.